Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana, and I am live this morning from my Beehive studio. It is Casing Tuesday, and that's the day when we take a card out of the catalog and give it a little makeover. Or if you prefer, you can copy the card exactly. This week's card is a little tricky. Well, I thought it was a little tricky because it had a lot going on in the background, and Catalina is my one of my team members, and she's the one that does the sketches for us. And once I saw the sketch, I was like, oh my goodness, I am so relieved. She really took it down and simplified it. So I think now it is a doable card, whereas before I was just like, what am I going to do with this card? I was a little bit, I don't know, taken aback. I just couldn't figure it out. So, good morning, everyone. So, let's have a look at the card that is our challenge card today. So, look at that. There is a lot going on. There's stamped some sort of doily image and a die cut, and then there's a cake. I mean, it is got a lot of energy, and I would never have designed a card like this. I can't. It's just got too much going on. And so when I saw this, I was like, what am I going to do with this? So Catalina simplified where is it? Our sketch. Isn't that a nice simple sketch? You don't have to worry about what you put in the background. You could put paper in the background. You could stamp something in the background. You could emboss in the background. It's now a nice simple sketch. So I'm really pleased with that type of sketch. So I took that and I made a card with it, and I'm happy with my results. So it's a good thing that we have those sketches now. We've been doing them a year now. It was last January that we started doing the sketches, and I know you guys love them because it makes it just a little bit easier. Even if you don't follow the sketch exactly, it gives you a sample from the catalog, and it gives you a starting point to start creating your cards. So I'm really happy that we have those now. All right, I am going to switch over cameras, and let's pop over here. Oh, let me move this out of the way just a little bit. I've got a cord coming into my camera view. Okay, I think there's my laptop. Let me shove that over just a little bit. Okay, so here's the card that I made. And I even shifted over this layer just a little bit. So it normally would come across here, but I didn't want to cover up this beautiful stamped image as much. So I took it a step further and I shifted a little bit more. So I've got this embossed folder in the background, and this is the Parisian, oh my gosh, I forget the name of it. It's the Parisian something embossing folder. It's with that beautiful Paris suite. Let me look it up. Let me look it up. It has a two-part name. Parisian Flourish embossing folder. This is a gorgeous embossing folder. It is with this suite right here, the Parisian suite, and this is the embossing folder right here. And I actually don't have the Paris suite. It's beautiful, but I find this kind of stamping is harder for me. But it doesn't mean that I not want to pick up some of the things in the suite, like the embossing folder. And this is truly gorgeous if you do it with metallic foil. But right now, because I've done it in this purple posy, it's a really pretty, it's got some flourishes in it, and it's got some florals in it. So I think it works really well for this card. So let's talk about the stamp set. The Happy Birthday to You stamp set is a celebration stamp set. You cannot buy the stamp set, but you can earn it. In the US, it's free with a $50 order, and you can So just spend $50 and then you can choose this one for free. We've got other things that you can choose too, but I'm just going to showcase this stamp set today. And I'm using both the cake image and the happy birthday greeting out of this set. I'm also going to show you how I colored my flowers to kind of give it, I don't know, like I used the purple, but then I brought in some other colors to do some shading that I think give the purple kind of a different look depending on where the flowers are sitting on the cake. So I think you'll be interested in how I did that little piece. All right, so let's get started. And I'm going to start with a piece of cardstock. This is thick Whisper White because I'm sticking it on top of the embossing folder afterwards. So I wanted to make it thick rather than doing just the regular Whisper White. This one measures 3 1/8 by 3 3/4 inches. And I'm going to take my cake image here and let me reach across and get my memento. So I'm just going to ink this up while it is face up on my work surface. Sometimes this is easier to do with these big stamps rather than do it this way. It's easier to do it this way because this little ink pad is pretty light, so I can tap it all over. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to stand up since it's easier for me to center it. I'm just going to center my image right on my cardstock. Now, some of you might notice I don't put my stickers on my I don't put my stickers on the back of my rubber stamps, my cling mount stamps. I didn't start out doing this when we got our stickers many years ago, and because at first they weren't sticky enough, and now I find that they're too sticky, and also I find I don't need them. So you can choose whether you put the stickers on or not. This little cling is just it's really good without any sticker on it. Now I just stamped this, and I don't actually like the way I stamped it, so I'm actually going to flip this over. I got a little dark right up top here, and I didn't get enough ink right in the center. So let me try this once more. It's nice, like if you're not going to be showing both sides, it's nice that you can flip it over and give yourself another little whirl. It wasn't terrible, but I'm like, I think I can do a better job. So let's give this one more whirl. I'm gonna really make sure that I've got my center inked. Let's try this one more time. Centered. Okay. So now I'm going to make sure that I have good pressure in the center. I'm not wobbling the stamp, but I'm going to wiggle it a little bit just to make sure that ink touches down, and then I'm going to lift straight off. There, that's a lot better. Except I missed part of the corner right there. My gosh. You know what I'm going to do? Let me see. I've got... No, that's not what I need. I've got one of my journaling markers right here. Let me get a piece of scrap, piece of white, and let me just test this out. Oh yeah, this is nice and thin. I just missed this little line right here, right at the bottom. I don't know how I missed that. So I just fixed it. So if it's just like something small like that, if you have like a little black pen, these are the journaling pens from Stampin' Up, you can fix your stamp image. So I'm having an off day today. That's kind of scary. Okay, I'm gonna bring in my blends. And the thing I found that was the easiest to start off with was to color the leaves. So I'm gonna use my Granny Apple Green, and I'm gonna color all of my leaves first, because that will help me choose or find where the petals are, and it won't accidentally color a petal like green later on, or like I won't go like a floral, like I won't go purple on a leaf or something. So if I hit all of those leaves first, I can pick them out and make sure that they don't get colored. Here's some leaves right there, and then these ones right here. And also it helps with coloring the cake too, because then you can kind of see where the cake is a little better when you have those leaves already done. Okay, so now I'm going to take my So Saffron. I'll start with the bullet tip, and I'm going to come in here and color in some of the area. I have to make sure that I'm hitting just what is cake and not what is the platter. This is So Saffron Light, coming in and around those little sprigs. And in a second, I'm going to switch to the brush tip. But first I'm just going to kind of outline everything and get in all the tiny spaces first, so that I can, okay. All right, okay, I'm going to come around the leaves too, so I don't have to get too close to them with my brush tip. Okay, now we've got these wide open spaces, and I'll just use my brush tip on an angle here. Just color this in. And I love how these markers, when you use a regular marker, when you lift up, you get that little darker dot. And that's not the case with Stampin' Blends. It blends that dot right out. It's because it has, these have alcohol in them, so it just makes for a nice look to them. Okay, so then I'm gonna take my Smoky Slate Light, and I'm going to color my cake stand. So I'm pretending this is either a silver platter or it's like a glass platter. So I'm going to use this neutral gray color. And I'll hit some of those dark lines with a little bit extra. Okay. Oh, you know what? I forgot one leaf right up at the top. I see it right here. Okay. Good morning to everyone who's here. Amy says that she loves when I show how to fix a mistake because it helps her feel confident. Yeah, I do make mistakes. I don't probably make as many mistakes now because I've been stamping for such a long time and I've got a feel for the stamp. But yeah, on this one right here now, of course, I've got some blends coming through. This one, I put too much pressure on the edge and it kind of smushed a little bit, and I maybe shifted a little bit, and then I didn't get this spot right here. Maybe I didn't ink it up very well. So, you know, and then you can just fix sometimes a little tiny line. If you don't have to draw too much, you can fix that up like pretty easily. All right, so I'm going to grab my purple Posy Light, and I'm going to do all of the flowers. So I start off with a base of purple Posy on the entire surface of all the flowers, and then I'll show you how I come in and differentiate all of the flowers and make them look a little different. And then I'll come in and I'll do this one. And with the brush tip, I'm always going on the side of the brush, not on the top. It's always on the side so I don't break down that tip. And then let me do this one up here. Oop, I went a little bit too far. As I said today, I don't know, I got a plate. My husband is away right now, so my day's a little off kilter. We always walk in the morning together, but usually we walk a little earlier in the morning, and he wasn't here and didn't need to like leave the house to commute to work, and I've been getting up a little later. And so I'm just like having kind of a slower start to my day. So maybe that's what's off kilter. All right. So my smoky slate light, I'm going to come in and I'm going to, well, let me use the brush tip. I'm going to hit some of these lines with the brush tip, kind of deepening the color. It's shading it and making it a little darker. So it doesn't look quite as purple as it did before. And then I'm going to come in with my crumb cake light and hit this one so it gives it a different sort of look. It's not the same color, but so now it's kind of, this one's got a different kind of tint to it. And then for this last one, I'm going to use my dark purple posy, and I'm going to hit those lines with the dark purple posy. And give it yet again a different shade. So you can see now that as it's drying, it kind of blends as it dries. I've got the one with the smoky slate light, I've got the one with the crumb cake light, and the one with the purple posy dark. So now you can kind of see a different kind of look, a different sort of shading for each of those flowers. Now I'm going to take my light Blackberry Bliss, the bullet tip. I'm just going to hit these little sprigs, these little tiny flowers, just not even all the way. I'm leaving a little bit of white, but I'm just kind of hitting them with a little bit of this purple posy. And then the last thing I'm going to do for these flowers, I've got some rhinestone jewels here, and I'm going to color them with my Blackberry light. I'm going to switch to my brush tip. Just be very careful with the brush tip though, because you don't want to kill your brush tip, and because the rhinestones have a bit of a like harder edges to them, you just want to go slow. If you're worried about that, use your bullet tip. Okay, let me clamp that down, and then let's grab this right here, and I'm just going to pull up my little rhinestones, and I want one right in the center of each of these flowers. It's neat that you can use these alcohol markers to color things like buttons and embellishments. There. So I have just colored that entire thing. If you want, you can come in and like hit some of these lines and deepen them a little bit with your So Saffron. Use the same So Saffron color and just kind of come in and just deepen the lines a little bit. All right. Next step is we want to stamp that happy birthday. And where did it go? And my black, come right back in. And I'm going to ink this up. And I did trim the stamp just a little bit, the happy birthday stamp, just so I had a better idea of where my edges were. it might not be as necessary if you have the stickers on, but I don't know. I still like to trim up my stamps a little bit just so I kind of have an idea. And I'm going to stand up and do this. Kind of want this centered on here. And you know, actually with this happy birthday, it's very scripty. So even if you're a little bit crooked, it's not going to matter so much because there's a lot of swirly action going on. So it doesn't really matter. But sometimes you do have to stamp things over again. So in this case, I would just flip it over if that happened. I've already got a piece of the Parisienne Flourish embossing folder. This is a piece of 5.5 by 4.25 purple posy cardstock, and it ran it through the Big Shot with that embossing folder. If you don't have a Big Shot, most die cutting machines now will do other dies, so you just have to find the right sandwich to run through either a die or an embossing folder. So that one is ready. If you don't have any dies yet, if you're starting out, I would just skip this and I would just use a purple posy card base. This one is 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it in half at the 4.25 inch mark. You could also fold it in half at the 4.25 inch mark, but you won't get that really smooth fold when you do that. So I do like to use either my Stampin' trimmer has a scoring blade, or you can use your scoring board to create that fold. So I just want to show you, you can add that to here, and it's got kind of cleaner lines than the embossed look, but it still looks really nice. So don't feel like you can't create beautiful cards if you're starting out and don't have that many supplies yet. We all start somewhere and then we build in supplies as we go along, but you can definitely still create a beautiful card here without bringing any die cuts into the mix. All right, so I will actually use my emboss piece since I have it, but I just take this and I'm going to add Tombow. I'm trying to just put a lot on here because of all the raised images. They won't sit flush on the card base. So I'll just add this now to the front. You've got a few seconds to move your piece around with the glue and get it into the right location. Oops. And then once it's in place, you want to just make sure, this one, because of all the raised images, you want to make sure it's actually really sitting down on your card base. And then I'll take this one right here with the other image on the back. Looks terrible now because the ink is coming through, but oh well. And I'm going to center this on the left side, so that means same distance from the side and top and bottom. Hold that down for a second. And the happy birthday, I'm going to pop up on some dimensionals. I think about 4 of them should do it. Okay, and then you just have to kind of decide, I'm probably unfortunately have to cover up that sprig a little bit, but just kind of decide where you want it. I think right about here is good. And with that other card, with the challenge card, the one that we started with, the greeting was coming across right here, but I just couldn't cover up that much of the cake, so I shifted it a little bit to the side so that it looked better. And the nice thing is with this card and this cake image, you can color it with whatever coloring tools you want. You could change up your colors. You don't like purple? then change it to a color that you like. Pink florals, blue florals, yellow florals, orange florals, whatever color florals that you like. And then just mimic that in the card base to tie it all in. I would choose a neutral color of cake. If I wasn't using yellow, I would maybe use a brown or like a beige, like a crumb cake, or a soft suede to give it like a chocolatey sort of look. But I would definitely go neutral for the cake, because if you want to bring in the flowers, I want to draw attention to the flowers is my thought. So that's why I'm bringing the color back from the card base into the flowers to tie it all together like that. So that is how I made the card. It's not a terribly hard card. What do you think? I love this stamp set because it, you can just really make it up however you want, whatever colors you want. So it's kind of fun. Karen says she thinks the blending and shading is pretty. Well, thank you. It's nice when you can shade with a color like crumb cake and smoky slate. You have to use the light ones, but it allows you to slightly change the color without really changing the base color. It gives it just a little bit of a difference, and it's just like an easy way to color without too much complication. So I always recommend, along with most colors of the Stampin' Blends, that you start with a color. You probably need a green for sure, and then whatever color you want, but definitely you need some neutrals in there too, and the grays are really great. They're also great, and I didn't do that with this card, but they're great for adding shadows to the bottom of cards, like if you want to give like that shadow look that's coming down from the top. So, well, thank you so much everyone for joining me. And if you like my channel and like my videos, this video will be on YouTube eventually. So if you like my YouTube channel, if you're watching this on YouTube later on, please like my channel. And if you want to receive notifications, make sure you hit that little bell button so that you get notified when I have a new video up on my channel. All right, guys, I hope you have a great day, and I will be back later this week with another projects. Have a great week, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.